Thank you for being here at the Metro Board meeting. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Note we are waiting for one more board member to have any voting items, and if necessary, I will adjust the agenda accordingly. But to start off, let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Hearings from citizens. We always do this at the beginning of the board meeting, and I thank you, anyone who's here, for your interest in providing comments to the board. Please note, limit your comments to 3 minutes per person, and that the board does not directly respond to public comments during the meeting. Comments are taken under advisement. I see two people. Mackenzie Mason, you're first. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Mackenzie. Oh, green button. Are we good? It's on. Okay, cool. Hi, I'm Mackenzie. I'm a resident of Cuff and just up the street from Ludlow. I take the 78, the 19, and the 17 most frequently. And I first wanted to thank you all for all the work going into the BRT. This is an investment that is going to make transit more accessible for folks in the area. As a neighbor who frequents Ludlow, I just wanted to take the time here to voice my support for option 1 of the BRT stop, which is on Ludlow Avenue and not Clifton. As a bus rider, the stop on Ludlow is, first of all, safer. It provides better connection when it comes to that first mile, last mile, when it comes to visiting the businesses on Ludlow. And in that area, I believe, based off of like transit studies like done in Toronto, will actually help the businesses on Ludlow more than option 2 would. So again, thank you all for your work on this, and please note that there are neighbors in the area that support option 1 of this stop and want to see transit grow in the neighborhood and in Cincinnati as a whole. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think we have one more person, Rowan Guzet.
Hi, my name's Roan, and I'm speaking today on support of option 1 for the Clifton BRT stop. I believe that it, along with the Good Sam stop, will provide the best access to the entire Clifton Business District while maintaining the efficiency of the spacing that's required to make BRT run smoothly. I went to the Clifton Town meeting earlier this month, and that made it clear to me that that's also the option that's supported by bus riders, both in Clifton and people who frequent the area. If BRT is supposed to be for the riders, I think that option 1 is is definitely the way to go. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm providing a little bit of context to the board. As you all know, we're working through our bus rapid transit design in the Hamilton corridor. We've had multiple meetings with the Clifton Town meeting and the Clifton Business Council about the location of those two options. We need to have a stop near the Clifton Business District. There are 2 options under consideration. We are continuing those discussions. It'll probably be the next 4 to 6 weeks where we'll make a final recommendation. The project will make a recommendation relative to option 1 or option 2.
Thank you. That is all I have for signups to speak. Is there anybody else who would like to address the board this morning? All right. Well, thank you very much for coming and sharing your thoughts. I do want to note we're doing something slightly different this month, and I just want to be fully transparent that we did not hold committee meetings this month due to a relatively light schedule. We generally have very busy schedules here. And we just moved everything into the full board meeting. So we won't be having reports from the committees, but instead we'll be going through the full content of both finance and planning and ops in our meeting today. So with that being said, I think it's good to jump right in. We can't approve the minutes just yet. I know we have one more board member on the way, but we could go right into financial results. Mr. Walker, could you please take us through that?
Etheridge. And we're going to go through the February financial results here. My papers here. And when we look at here, we started off, this is for February. I want the board and everyone to keep in mind that we don't have any actual sales tax data right now, so these are still being booked to the budget for the first couple months. For the month of February, our revenue came in at $12.9 million, which was slightly unfavorable to budget by about $293,000. A couple of the drivers on that were the fixed route ridership, fixed route revenue. That was due to some lower ridership along with some lower outlet sales, the timing of the outlet sales basically, and then the CPS pass usage. So the way we recognize revenue on the CPS side is when the passes are used. And so once they use it for the semester, that is then billed for the semester. And it's just the passes just haven't been used as quickly as we had anticipated. We don't see any issues with that going forward. Going through the expenses, they came in at $13.3 million for the month. Those were favorable or less than what we had budgeted by about $86,000. Pretty much all along the line items, they were favorable or less than what we had budgeted, with the exception of wages and benefits. And that's something that we're working through primarily with some overtime charges with the wages and benefits. But it's something, as I mentioned, that we're working through. But again, the other line items were favorable or less than what we had budgeted. You net those two numbers together, and we came in with a negative capital contribution for the month of about $500,000. That was less than budget by about $200,000. But when we look at the year-to-date information going forward, it's nothing that is too concerning for us right now. Total ridership was slightly unfavorable to the budget, but again, and then also it was greater than it was last year at this time. Now let's go to the next page. And as we all know, this is my favorite page. I want to remind everyone once again that sales tax has been booked to revenue for the first couple months, so there's really no actual sales tax data in here at present. Going to the right side, you look at the total revenue. We came in at $26.2 million versus a budget of $26.65 million, or an unfavorable variance of about $422,000. Nothing huge there. Again, that's primarily with the wages, or not with the wages, with the fares, Metro fares, along with the CPS fares. Going down to the expense line, you can see there on the right side, along for the year-to-date, it's black or favorable along all the line items, with the exception of the wages and benefits. Again, that's just 1% year-to-date. The one thing I want to do right now is pause for the board and focus in on the fuel and lubricants line that we have. I think we're all aware of the Iran conflict that we've seen recently. And I guess it was timely. We talked about our fuel hedging program last month and how we want to hedge for budget certainty, price protection, all those things. Well, with the conflict in Iran, so we started the year off with heating oil, which is basically the same proxy for diesel fuel, of $2.12. That same proxy closed yesterday at $4.06. So largely, we're immune to that because we're 90% hedged. So we're hedged at on average for the year at $2.20 a gallon, which is great news for us. So while there's wild fluctuations, we've eliminated that uncertainty within our budget and for our financial management. We use about 3 million gallons of fuel a year. So if you think that the price has gone up about $2 since the first part of the year, that could be about a $6 million bad guy for us. And so really happy that we have a hedging program, happy that we're 90% hedged, and also very pleased that this uncertainty, while it may impact a lot of items, it does not really impact our fuel prices and how we manage our budget. So again, great that we hedge as an organization. I'm happy that the board does approve of our program. If you look down at the
On
bottom,
top of that, we are hedged out for additional years as well.
we're hedged to the middle part of next year. So that is a lower number, call it $2.10 a gallon. So we're hedged out to the middle part of 2027. So 2026 is completely covered, and 27 is partially covered right now.
Thank you.
Staying on this page real quick, if you go down through the bottom year to date, we have a negative operating capital contribution of $1.5 million. but that is favorable to what we had budgeted or expected thus far for the first couple of months. All right, Natalie, go to the next page. This is our standard sales tax slide. Nothing remarkable to look at here because the first couple of months are showing at budget. So nothing, there's no variances right now. You can see the slight growth that we're expecting year over year for sales tax revenue as an organization. Next slide, Natalie. And this is our standard cash flow and obligation report that we do look at each and every month. Just want to remind everyone, we have $128 million in operating funds, but we can't use all that tomorrow. We have obligations and commitments that may occur this year or go out for several years, and which is what we have identified in the middle section there. And for us, we just want to highlight that. And going down to the bottom, we do have an operating surplus that we expect of a little bit less than $1 million. So again, we always want to look at our current obligations that we have going into the out years, just so we aren't too frivolous with our money, which we're never going to be, but we have $128 million and we have commitments for a lot of those monies. And that is all I have right now. Any questions from the board? All right, thank you, everyone.
See no questions? Oh.
You probably could, KZ, if you tried, but I tell you what, it is shocking when you go to the pump and you see how quickly those prices do go up, which is what we would be experiencing. So very pleased with the organization for having this hedging program. Right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. KZ, I've thought about that myself lately. All right. We can move back and do the board minutes. I trust you've all had a second to look them over. Any questions, concerns, changes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Probably moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say left. The minutes pass. Thank you very much. All right, now we can move right into procurement items. We have 2 for today. These are core items, bus lifts and buses. Jeff Monstock, Mr. Monstock, are you going to take us through that, or do I take it through? Okay.
I'll cover these.
Okay.
We just have a couple items here for board action here. The first one is for the lift replacements. So on the lift replacements, this was we bid this out an RFP. These are for the 7 remaining lifts at Queensgate. So there were 20 total lifts, and this is the final replacement for the final 7. You can see that was awarded to Odd Equipment Services in the tune of about $1.9 million. Any questions here on this procurement? Right, thank you.
Was this sent out for bid?
Yes, it was out for bid, yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any summary on that? I don't know if later on the slide here.
The
I
summary
think there is. Oh, there we go.
Here's our matrix.
So,
So
perfect,
if you want to go to the
perfect.
matrix, if you want to go here, we can cover both of them here.
So-
What we've also tried to do as a board, we wanted to, for the projects, assign them to our strategic priorities.
Yeah.
And so for this one, for the lift replacement, that's for us to operate as a highly effective organization. Going down to the second one, these are the access vehicles that we have. And we have a couple strategic priorities that we've assigned to this one. One is to grow ridership. We need vehicles to grow ridership. And the second one is to connect the region. This was a sole source award for the access vehicles, but it was purchased on a state contract. So with a state contract, these are effectively bid out by the state, and we just signed up and purchased through their already bidded out program. This one is, but both of these were budgeted with a capital. On the access vehicles, we do have grant funding for about 80%, and 20% will be our local funds, which we have in our budget. Any questions on these procurements?
No, just thanks for putting the strategic priorities next to them. I think that's really helpful for all of us ongoing. And I was trying to find in my notes, where's one of these, I guess this one that went out for bid, were there like 11 entities that we contacted, and only one came back with a bid. Is that right?
I don't have the summary. Jason Rose here can help out with the details on the procurement.
Good morning. Actually, that is correct. We identified 11 that we thought would have the capacity and that perhaps might be willing to participate. Following solicitation, we do a no bid poll where we actually contacted those entities as well as the manufacturer of the lifts. And what we found out is that they actually have installation companies that are within regions. And the only company that gave us a bid is the actual installer for the manufacturer within our region.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jason.
Question? All right, thank you.
Well, I think we certainly need buses, and we certainly need to be able to take care of them, and understanding that the procurement team has done all the diligence necessary on these. I would support moving forward with each. We do not have a consent agenda, so I think we should consider each one individually, although. Oh, I am wrong. We can propose them together. So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Last chance for questions, discussion. Hearing none. Roll call.
Mr. Bryce?
Yes.
Mr. Driehaus?
Yes.
Mr. Etheridge?
Yes.
Miss Moss? Yes. Miss Sheets?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
And Miss Smith?
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. Motion passes. We can move right into briefing items, and we'll start off with good news from the executive team.
Good morning.
Morning.
Starting off this year's January Silver Wheel winners, we're going to start with our administrative support employee, Greg Toyas. Greg is an accident incident investigator in the operations area and is just being recognized for his great pride in his work. And he's timely, accurate, and always gets work done completely, especially with his attention to details, and is always willing to help others in the department. So congratulations to Greg. Then we have Access employee Darla Powell. Darla is being recognized for her great work she does with passengers. She recently had a passenger on her coach that was having some problems breathing. They suffer from asthma, and she sat with the passenger and just worked them through practicing breathing until they were able to get their breath, until they were able to move on with the trip. So thank you to Darla for that great work. And then we have operator Corbett Frith. Corbett is a fairly new operator with us, been with us about 2 years, but he's been recognized for just always having a great smile on his face, always coming in and working with being very approachable for his fellow coworkers, and always willing to help and answer questions, any that he can help them with, again, as a new operator. So he's just a great example of positivity with a great and positive attitude. Then we have Queensgate maintenance employee Verna White. Verna is a hostler with us and is being recognized for how she demonstrates great work and her commitment to Metro. She was one of the individuals who came in every day during the time we had the snow emergencies. She was there early, and willing to work overtime and just go above and beyond to make sure that the buses were fueled and cleaned and ready to go. And then we have a Bond Hill operator, Zachariah Shepard. Zachariah is also a fairly new operator with us, been with us just about a year now. And he always shows up again with a great positive attitude, great customer service, always with a smile on his face. And even with his short tenure, his OTP has been around 94.9%. So again, congratulations to Zachariah. And then last, we have Bond Hill employee Matthew Steele. Matthew is being recognized for just going above and beyond when it comes to his work and getting work done. And he is always asking questions, very inquisitive, wants to know what happens next and why this needs to be done for this. He's a C-rate maintenance employee and always trying to educate himself on vehicles and vehicle maintenance. And they just see a great future for Matthew in the maintenance area for Metro. And so congratulations to those individuals for the January Civil War winners. And then we had our Golden Bus Awards. This was our 5th year anniversary. It was a great event. We had a great time. Thank you to all the board members who were able to attend. You can see all of the winners there. They were super excited. It just continues to grow as an event as we continue to recognize our employees and build a positive culture. And you can see all of the winners there, and I'll just real quickly mention them. Operator Marcus Nelson, Operator Keith Wright. We have Kimberly Jackson from our dispatch area, and Alyssa Lashide, who is from our communications and marketing area. And then we have Operator Jeffrey Oliver. And then from our maintenance department, we have Daniel Elfers. Not pictured as Arnold Adame. He wasn't able to be with us on that night. But again, just congratulations to those winners. It was a great event. And again, thank you all who were able to come out and attend.
All right, thank you, Adrian. Let's start off with, I got a question for the board. This is an easy one, a little fill in the blank question. Ready? Blank time is the charm. Blank time. What's the answer? Third? Wrong. The answer is fourth. I thought it was an easy one. You guys missed it. Fourth time is the charm, as in the Cincinnati Business Courier has issued its 4th annual Bosses to Watch, and this time they got it right, naming Andy Aiello to the group here, citing Andy's start as CEO amidst our largest initiative, BRT. Congrats to Andy, and thanks to you and your tireless effort, BRT is increasingly becoming a hot and exciting topic for the region. Congratulations, Andy.
All right, I'm back. And this is, we got a streak going here at Metro. We received an award, the Government Finance Officers Association Award for financial reporting and accounting. And this is, I believe Norman Bowie from our audit department hasn't audited this yet, but I believe this is the 34th consecutive year that Metro sort of has received this award. So a big congratulations to the finance and accounting team. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm proud of this new book, Theory of Public Transit, Charting the Future of Mobility. This is the fruit of 2 years of labor on that one, but much longer in terms of trying to think about it. I'm, as you very well know, constantly thinking about public transit, even in my dreams. Actually, those would be nightmares, but constantly, asking like, why is public transit in such, condition, right? Especially here in the U.S. And as well as in many other parts of the world. And I thought that I kind of found the answer is there's no theory of public transit. And almost every other discipline has a theory of architecture, theory of art, theory of medicine, theory of you name it. And the importance of theory is, it kind of like establishes a framework within which a discipline operates. It defines, it's the foundation of it. It helps that discipline grow, evolve over time, and still, manage to deliver on its purpose. But we don't have a theory of public transit, at least not until about a month or so ago. There is theory of transportation written by Dr. Cooley back in 1893, but that's transportation, not public transit. And the two are kind of at odds because transportation, and he talks about the railway and highways and so on, this is all for profit. So that theory is based on the most efficient ways to make money and revenue and profit and so on. That's not the case of public transit, and I think that was part of this failure, if you want to call it a failure. So this book talks about establishing a theory of public transit and moving forward with that vision in terms of how we're going to deal with planning networks in the future, what kind of services that would make sense 10, 15, 20 years from now, but also in terms of we need to take a look at how we're designing our facilities as well as garages and so on, because with automation, there's a lot that's going to change, and we need to be ahead of that curve that we're not considering right now. But it also talks about many other things and revisits equity in transit. It's a different take at equity based on. I don't want to spoil the read of it, but it's about efficiency, and equity for everybody based on value of time and convenience. So I'm proud of it, and I hope you get to read it and let me know what you think. Thank you.
Congratulations. And it's wonderful to have, as part of the team here, the person who wrote the theory on public transit as part of our team. Thank you so much. I look forward to reading it and developing my understanding of the theory, see if it matches what I think is in my head, and see where it challenges us to think differently. Thank you so much for your work. All right. Brandy.
All right, good morning. Continuing the theme around discussion about transit and its future, I'm proud to share that this past month, our Director of Marketing, Dave Etienne, and myself were invited by the American Public Transit Association to present during 2 different panels to our peers around how to advance public transit. I spoke on the importance of storytelling around our customer base and their experience and impact in the work that we're doing in transit, and Dave presented on the psychology of the rider and how to grow ridership and move the needle around marketing. So he is here with me today as well, and those were one of the 2 of the packed rooms of the conference. So we're really excited to be able to share the results of our work here in Cincinnati. This Thursday is opening day in Cincinnati and is a great time to give Metro a try. Our fixed route and our access paratransit service will be fare-free that day. It is a busy day in downtown Cincinnati, and with the parade coming right through 5th Street, Government Square will be closed to accommodate the parade route. So we do encourage everyone to visit our website or download the transit app, so that way you can get all the alerts about detours and service interruptions during that period of time, which is around 11 to 3 that we're expecting the parade period to go on. Additionally, we will be in the parade with Evie, our minibus, and the Metro team. So if you would like to come and join us and walk with your family and friends, we certainly invite you to do so, and can get you the information about where we'll be staged and the time we'll be stepping off. And the parade is expected to start around noon. All right, thank you. Oh, I have one more. And this is about our partnership with the Cincinnati Children's Hospital. They are doing the Imagination Library, and we all know that reading and writing goes perfectly. I finished many of books on the bus on my commute home, and so we're encouraging our customers to read while they ride and to log their hours, and it is a part of a literacy initiative with Children's Hospital, and they are hoping to reach 513,000 minutes of reading. So please do take on that reading and writing challenge and join us in that partnership. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Brandy. And in the spirit of print media, clarifications and corrections have to be issued from time to time. The Courier also nailed it in the first edition of The Bosses to Watch, with Raquel Howard Smith being named. Yes.
There you go.
There you go. So clarified and corrected. Cincy Red Bike, now live in the Transit app. Transit app's users can now purchase Red Bike passes in the app, plan their trip in the same way they would on Metro or any other regional transit providers that are part of the Transit app. So You go into the app, you can purchase your Red Bike Pass, generates a QR code, you scan it at the kiosk and unlock the bike. Passengers or customers can purchase 2-hour Red Bike passes as well as monthly and annual passes. So we're really looking forward to this addition to the customer experience and convenience in the city, and also looking forward to capturing the data to better understand how users are using both services, Metro and Red Bike.
Excellent.
One last look back at the Golden Bus Awards. If you weren't there, you missed it. What a night celebrating the employees that make this organization what it is. And on the next slide there, a last look back at town halls and Employee Appreciation Week. Certainly 3 very big highlights as part of life at Metro. That's the news.
Thank you so much. That is some good news. KZ.
I missed about Raquel.
She was a boss to watch in 2023, still is.
She's recognized.
Bosses to watch in 2023.
Oh, well, great. Thank you very much for all that good news. Let's move right into the ridership and service quality report.
All right. Hello again. On ridership, we started the month of February doing fairly well, and then we got hit by a few bad weather days and school closures, so we ended up just slightly below the budget, and about 1.8% lower than last year's February ridership. However, year to date, we're slightly higher than last year, within the first couple of months. On access, ridership is doing fairly well. We performed 14,105 trips, almost on target, and 5% higher than last year. Year to date, also 5% higher than last year and higher than the budgeted number. Next slide. Metro Now. We performed 13,477 trips, lower than the budgeted number of 15,500. Obviously higher than last year's, just because the ridership is still growing from last year. And same for year to date. We are still below the budgeted number, but higher than last year's. On productivity, for the local service, we carried the productivity is 14.5 passengers per hour, one passenger per hour lower than the budget number, but it's trending in the right direction. On the express service, again, same trend, still lower than budget at 9.2 passengers per hour. Access, still kind of where it is at 1.85 passengers per hour compared to the 2 budgeted number. And Metro Now still does fairly well on the mature zones at 3.6 passengers per hour. And with that, I'll turn it over to Bill.
Good morning. As we walk through the service quality, Khaled mentioned a little bit about February. Thankfully, February was not as excessive as January, but we did have multiple days of snow, some school issues, closures, and then, of course, we had 1 week of really cold temperatures, if everybody remembers that. But thankfully, we did not hit as bad as a normal February could have been, at least from our perspective. You see a little bit of that impact here on fixed route on-time performance, although I will say that we have an incredible trend, as you can see, the number of months in a row that we have beat the prior year, so we're on a good trend with on-time performance. Access on-time performance dropped a little bit. You see it was also down a little bit last year. That is related to the weather, but we also had a significant amount of flu run through the access division. But it is back up for March, and you'll see that right now we're trending above goal for March. Metro on-time performance, we were able to continue to operate very strong there. Next. Fixed route service reliability. You can see that we were almost at our goal of 99.4. We were at 99.3, so feel very strong about that. And that's with we're still a handful of operators short of our target, and then we also had those weather days, so that is trending very positive. Customer service, we've sort of leveled out in the 25 to 28 range. What you don't see here on this chart is when we started this chart back in 2023, we were at 40, and then we were at 30, and then we were at about 27 or 28 last year. So we've significantly improved this, and I think we've probably taken out the low-hanging fruit, and we're settling in where our service is. Fixed route miles between mechanical service interruptions, we saw a little bit of a drop. Unfortunately, after last month, we were trending very well. We did have some weather effects here, but this is a long-range action plan for us. It's going to be 3 steps forward and sometimes 2 steps back. But we'll stay on target. To give you a little bit of perspective, the difference between where we finished at 8312 and 9200 was a total of 12 service interruptions for the month. So it is a fairly small difference between where we are and where the goal was. And that's it, I think. Is there one more, Natalie? Okay. Thank you. If there's any questions, and I apologize for my voice. I'm losing it, and there are a lot of people who are happy about that. Thank you.
Any questions? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Sproul. Next, Metro Rapid update. Thank you.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
So Metro Rapid has had another busy month as we move closer to the project being in a final design phase and moving closer towards construction, especially for the Reading corridor. You've seen this chart a number of times. We are continuing on the same path to deliver opening day in 2028 for the Reading corridor in Hamilton by the end of 2028. Next slide. We've continued to do a range of stakeholder and public engagement, internal and external. You heard about the town hall meetings that were held last week, keeping our employees informed. We also had shown you in last month's Planning and Ops Committee meeting the internal leadership team that we had developed to help spread the wealth of BRT to a number of other directors and leaders within the organization so that we can get some decisions and policies put in place for the delivery of bus rapid transit. And that has gone just beyond my expectations. Those teams are off and running. They're well-informed, well-engaged, and engaging others in the agency to be able to answer questions and make decisions that are in the best interest of the agency. I'm sorry, back to that slide, please. We've done a lot on stakeholder and public engagement. We also had a special guest attend our monthly steering committee meeting. We had the city manager come, and both the city manager and Andy had given a message to the staff here at Metro, as well as the city staff that we coordinate with on the project, and the importance of us all working together and collaborating to the best outcome for transit. And that was a wonderful soiree into our final design. So it was really a great reminder and enthusiasm lifting up the project and the project team to focus on us all collaborating, because there are so many different elements within our organization, but as well within the city of Cincinnati, that we all need to be rowing in the same direction. So that was great and inspirational. We've also had a lot of input, and as part of the regular process for the environmental review, we've gotten some feedback from the State Historic Preservation Office specific to the Over the Rhine district, and we've been working on those comments and concerns, as well as coordinating some of that with 3CDC, who is a major property owner, of course, within Over the Rhine. We had our stakeholder advisory group meeting. We're continuing to work with the University of Cincinnati. We've met with utility companies. It's very important that we know where utilities are before we begin construction, and some of that is easy to find out, some of that not so easy to find out. So a lot of good collaboration there. And then, as you heard earlier, the Clifton Town meeting had a series of meetings regarding the options that were presented, and the option 1 and option 2 at our last public involvement meeting, and are looking to send us formal comments and recommendations. And then we will, of course, be advising our executive leadership team on the best for the overall project and transit. And then the final piece of that, the transit-oriented development, we have continued to work with local developers on identifying at each of the station locations the market benefits, the pulse of the market, and then also identifying some of the things that are obstacles to being able to develop in Cincinnati in particular, and different types of market, whether that's residential or commercial development, so that our consultants can make a recommendation on the right fit for each of the stations for future either development or redevelopment. So that's a very important part of BRT, is kind of the consolidation and the focus of development around nodes, right, for transit. Next slide. We have been advancing the station design. So in our prior efforts, up to 30%, the design is really focused on what are these stations going to look like generally across the system. Now, moving into 30% or 60%, we place each of those stations in their location and look at it from how much space truly is available at each location and what modifications need to be made to make it fit. An example on the right-hand side, the photos that you see, is in the Over the Rhine. We originally had the station a little bit closer to the business offices. The SHPO asked us to move it in between, and so we've made that modification. But now, what will that station really look like? The bottom is with some brick cladding around the bottom to make it look a little bit more historic and fitting in the Over the Rhine district. So that will more than likely be the theme that we go with for at least the historic districts. But we will continue to advance and get, we keep getting a lot of questions of what's it going to look like here? Where's the sidewalk going to go? What's the back? How's drainage going to happen? And that is this stage of design. And so we are in now advancing from 30 to 60%, and it will be specific to each and every station. Next slide. In addition to that, one of the things that the engineering team is working on is identifying the condition of the pavements. So it's very important. We will be doing a overlay and resurfacing of the pavement, and basically everyone knows there's a lot of potholes from the weather in roads, and every time you open up another hole, then it becomes a pothole. So we are looking at the roadway from all the way from downtown to each end of line to identify how much rework needs to be made in the underbelly, basically, of the roadway. And so we will have crews out doing some little drills in the middle of the streets to make sure that we have that identified properly, and that's not an additional cost that we find out that needs to be done later. We want to know about that now. And then apparent right-of-way is the next step in right-of-way. So far, we've looked at, where will there be acquisitions? We have over 100 ramps for ADA accessibility along the 2 projects that are currently not to standard. And so those will need to be brought to standard for the project. And we are examining in those areas if there's additional right-of-way that is needed to make the ramps be ADA accessible as they should be. Next slide. We've had a lot of interest from the community about traffic as well. The City Department of Transportation Engineering, we've coordinated with them. We've been doing this for the last year. We've identified what the existing traffic is, what it will look like in the future with a model. We have done a number of different analyses and signal refinements to make improvements throughout the corridor. And then we have coordinated that with the City of Cincinnati Department of Transportation and Engineering. And I think some of the things that are misconceptions in the project overall is, the amount of time it takes for a bus rapid transit to stop and move is much less than a regular bus because the stations allow that level boarding. And so, we typically sit at a red light for 20 to 50 seconds, whereas a BRT can load and unload and get going within 10 to 15 seconds. So just kind of that education of even our local traffic engineers that are either on the team or not on the team. This is new. And so going through that process has been very important. Next slide. We also, as part of our community outreach in September, took out this exact graphic that showed locations where level of service will either be degraded by the bus rapid transit or is already operating at a level of service that is below a level of service D. Typically an A to a D is acceptable in an urban condition. D is when you're sitting, and E and F is when you're sitting and you have to sit through like one light cycle extra to get through that. So we model everything on a worst case scenario for the afternoon travel patterns. And the ones that are shown on Reading, we had 8 areas that we've been working closely with the City of Cincinnati to refine either additional traffic signal times that make it better than what the current condition is, or bringing it to the same condition it is currently, so that at the end of the day, our project does not result in a negative impact to traffic. Once we have final station location for Clifton, we will be able to do that same analysis for Hamilton and focus in on Hamilton to make those recommendations as well. Next slide. I wanted to take a moment and say thank you all for getting our construction manager at risk on board, as well as our independent cost estimator. We have got them up and running. They're all onboarded, familiar with the project, and beginning to give some expert advice on how to phase the project, how to schedule it, and also how to, the next step is going to be looking at how we can reduce costs and get value of engineering in our estimates over what we are seeing from our design team. Next slide. And then, as we've mentioned, construction is the next phase. And so the most important thing is to understand that the amount of construction is basically at the station locations. So most of those are on the sidewalks, not a lot of interference with traffic. The repaving and the repairing of the roadway is the most extensive that will occur within the existing right-of-way. And then the dedicated bus and right turn lanes. Those are really the only modifications. So while it seems very large, it really is something that a city does on a day-to-day basis, with the exception of the station locations. And then vehicle procurement is another item that will be coming your way by the end of this year. And we are currently working on the specifications for the vehicles. Those vehicles will be able to be used with the BRT project and even without. So it's a great addition to our fleet. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I mean, there's so much in there. It's absolutely amazing. Thankful that you're on top of all of this, keeping it organized. Sharon Lacombe, everybody, thank you so much for what you're doing. And I thought that explanation on the boarding time was so helpful to understand that it moves, sorry, excuse me, so much faster than a standard bus. Our normal buses do a good job, do a great job in boarding and alighting, but with the improvements in BRT, it should not impact traffic the way people might imagine it.
Right.
So thank you for doing that. Thank you for getting both internally, everybody, I think, did you say rowing together?
Rowing in the same boat.
I like the transportation metaphors. And then also everybody in the larger community doing the same. These are huge steps forward. And I thank you for these updates too. It's really helping us, well, if I can say, row along with you.
Great. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Back to your TOD market research.
Yes.
I know a lot of our neighborhood CDCs are involved in the stakeholder advisories. Are they also included in that?
Right now, we are working primarily with developers and doing a market assessment. So we want to see first and foremost what the market will allow, and then the next step would be identifying how that incorporates with each of the neighborhood plans, and if it's desirable in the community, and to how much.
I think I just meant in terms of developers as a general term. Does that also include our community development corporations?
Oh, yes, yes. We have had our community development corporations invited.
Okay.
We have an additional outreach that we'll be doing in the next couple of months that will be specific to the community development corporations as well.
Good deal. Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah.
I just want to reiterate, Blake's sentiment. I just love and appreciate these updates so much because these are the questions that we're getting out in the community, and so it's just really helpful to have this level of detail. So thank you so much. And I also really appreciate hearing about the extensive collaboration with the city on things like signal timing. And to all of you in transit, this is probably a no-brainer, but I think out in the world, people might question: Are they thinking about this? Are they thinking about how this is all going to work together? So I'm really happy to hear that collaboration with the city is on track and seems to be very strong. So thank you.
It is, and they have just really been a true partner. And I don't think Matt's here today. I haven't seen him, but he has gotten his team together in the boat and rowing also. So we appreciate him. He's really helped get us in contact with the right people at the right time for the project. So he's been
great.
Instrumental.
That's great. Thank you.
And so again, back to the stakeholders, thanks for mentioning them all. One being the utility companies. So when you're working with the city and with us and the utilities, as we're doing all this change, do you see any opportunities to bury utility lines at any part along the way? And have we in the city worked with the utility companies on that subject at all? Knowing where they are is one thing, but then considering burying of utility lines, I'm just curious.
We have not, only because in doing so would increase the capital cost of the project.
We hear that a lot.
Yeah, and it would be a much deeper excavation of the roadway. I know it's something that the city has expressed interest in, or at least a council member or two in burying utilities, and coming from places where most of the utilities are buried. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, everybody says it's a great idea, but it rarely gets converted into action. Yeah. So as infrastructure projects go, it's just a nice opportunity to think that way. But we need people to
I think what we can do is have a conversation with the city
Yeah.
about where they stand on that, and how that relates to the overall cost and then cost competitiveness of the project as it relates to FTA scoring and all those good things. So we'll
Right.
have some discussions and get back to you on that point.
I was just
Great
curious.
point.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Government Square update, executive team.
I'll kick it off. Thank you. A couple important moving pieces here. You all recall back in October, this board passed a motion directing staff to do a number of things, one of which was to look at and evaluate the overall effectiveness and design of Government Square where it sits today. That resulted in us drafting a scope of work, which we shopped around the community to our writers and to stakeholders and to the downtown business community. They provided comments, the city as well, on that scope. That scope went out on the street for an architecture and urban design firms to bid on that work. The proposals were accepted through last week, and those have closed. So we are now in the evaluation phase of evaluating those architecture and design teams, and we'll be back with a recommendation soon to this board so we can move forward. The scope is a very collaborative scope. It is one that, and just like the BRT project, we're going to include stakeholders as through each step of this process. So excited about that getting going, and you'll see more here in the coming weeks on the design of Government Square. The next thing is just an update on the day-to-day operation of the square. You recall back in October, we realigned and really coordinated all the different entities that were at the square. Happy to report that 6 months later, those teams continue to meet. We have a weekly quality of life team that Brett Isaac from our shop hosts, and that is Metro, CPD, 311, 3CDC, and the collaborative team. We get together and pulse together weekly to make sure if there are any adjustments need to be made, that they're made in real time. And the other piece is there's a monthly kind of managerial quality of life team. So some of the leaders and executives from those agencies that I mentioned before pulse together to make sure that everybody has the resources that they need. I think 3CDC's increased engagement at the square has been noticeable. I don't know if you've been through the square much recently, but I think from a cleanliness perspective and a finish perspective and just the use of it as a transit hub seems to be going very well. So we're ready for the spring, ready for more folks to be out and about. Just want to thank Bill Sprawl and his team, Haled and his team on the scope and everything that's going on there. Happy to take any questions related to Government Square.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Andy, how are you measuring success of that collaboration?
I think there are a couple ways to measure it. I mean, one is anecdotal. Are we hearing feedbacks and complaints and concerns about activities or look and feel of the square? And then the second is, are we receiving calls or are we track kind of CPD tracks criminal activity at the square? And they report that out to our quality of life team. And I think we've had really good results thus far. I'm looking at Bill. And some of these things are hard to quantify. If we engage youth and have a productive conversation and that doesn't result in unwanted behavior, it's hard to, maybe get that data. So open ideas about how to track it, but primarily it's the crime data that CPD holds.
Okay.
Yeah.
One recommendation is to work with some of the partners who may be tracking
Okay.
their either touches or progress, particularly with the young people.
Yep. We will talk to our team and circle back on that one for sure. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And having a way to track is always a good idea. So thank you for that question. All right. Ridership Development Initiative, Mr. Ravazio.
All right, thank you, sir. So as the board's well aware, we've updated our strategic plan. That includes looking at our strategic priorities, first among them, growing ridership. When you start to look at how to do that, though, a quick challenge that you see as far as our organizational structure goes, we have multiple departments and initiatives that touch ridership development, right? Whether it's customer engagement, marketing, communications, building the service itself, the customer service team, not to mention the operations themselves, right? We have so many different contributors to it, creating a challenge of alignment, right? So our solution here is going to be to create a cross-organizational structure to focus on this priority. So not a reorg and not really adding staff, but just building an internal team of experts from all of those different functions to come together to achieve that alignment, to reach our goals, many of which are already established, whether they're in the budget in terms of our monthly and annual ridership targets or part of our 5-year plan and ridership projections and the resulting revenue. We have a lot of this built. We have strategic plan initiatives already set and adopted and ready to roll. This team will support those, but then also create together. Reaching these goals is step one, but why can't we reach even higher in terms of ridership growth and ridership development? So in the short term, we'll be building that team, coming together with buy-in and buying into this purpose and trying to find some initial momentum and early wins, chief among them being to activate the deep dive. We spent several months. We had a lot of great findings there, great data analysis. That doesn't have to be redone, but it does have to be turned into actionable plans. And in the future, this group will remain aligned with the strategic plan and then create longer-term ridership development strategies. So just wanted to make that announcement to the board here to follow up on the discussions you've been seeing, whether it's the deep dive or the updated strategic plan. We've been talking ridership for some time and where that is. So this is the latest, and we're very excited to get started.
Thank you so much. And just in case anybody listening or here wasn't aware, the organization went through a deep dive to understand our ridership, what's going on with ridership, to identify possible places we could take action, and to make sure that we didn't take action in places where that's not the right issue. So having that deep understanding will help this team move forward. So thank you for all that work, and I like how this shows the organization thinking, analyzing, understanding, and then taking action on it. Keep us updated on how it goes.
Sure will. Thanks.
Any questions or concerns, comments? No. Ridership is so important that we love what you're doing there. All right. Q1 marketing update. Mr. Etienne.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We'll start with a little bit of background. Some of you may recall that we awarded a contract to a new ad agency starting this year. That agency is Gatesman. Their offices are located in Chicago, Illinois, and Pittsburgh. They actually have Pace, which is a very large suburban bus operation in Chicago, and they also have the Pittsburgh Regional Transit Authority as their clients, and now they list us. We chose them specifically to bring a fresh, new approach to our advertising, and they will manage all of our creative development, media buying, and analysis for all the paid marketing that we do. One of the changes that you will notice, or maybe not notice, with this new agency and this new approach is we're going to be doing very targeted, strategic, intentional advertising. So we're not going to be on some of the general media like television or radio as much. And the reason is we're going to actually target both geographically and demographically and behaviorally for both ridership and operator recruiting. So unless you're in one of those geographic areas that we're going to be targeting, or you fit one of the demographic or behavioral characteristics that we're looking for, you may not actually see the advertising that we're doing, much like you did over the last couple of years, where we were everywhere promoting a general metro awareness message. Next slide. So first, we are going to be targeting express and park and ride use. And this is sort of a follow-up to a presentation that you saw last year about our park and rides, and some of them are very underutilized. And we actually see in monthly reports that ridership on express routes has room to grow. So we are going to launch this campaign. Actually, it's coming up very soon to increase awareness of our park and ride locations and the express services that we offer. We have a goal of increasing ridership 3 to 5% on these express routes, And we'll do that by focusing on the convenience of using these. These are actually free parking, and there's a wide network of lots that are very geographically dispersed across our region. We'll focus on the ease of use. We provide real-time information, real-time payment. We have direct service to downtown, much like you would if you were leaving your home and driving yourself to work. These park and ride lots are located very strategically next to express highways and will get you into town almost as quickly, or in some cases quicker, than if you drove. We also focus on the savings, particularly right now that the price of gas is going up. We'll hint at the savings that you might achieve by driving and using our park and ride lots and not paying to park downtown, but we're going to tread lightly on that so we don't anger our parking partners that we want to make sure we are playing very nice in the sandbox with. And then we'll also talk about stress reduction. Some of the amenities that we now have on our buses, the free Wi-Fi and the charging ports, allow you to actually be more productive and use your time more wisely as you're riding. I heard that people read on the bus. I myself read a book a week because I ride the bus, and that's one of the first benefits I'll tell you when you think about riding, is it gives you so much more extra time that you wouldn't have otherwise. The strategies, as I mentioned, that we will do to launch this marketing will be improved signage and wayfinding at the park and ride locations. And thank you to the SPDI folks and facilities for working on that. You see an example there of what some of that signage looks like. It was also designed by our partnership with Design, Architecture, Art, and Planning at the University of Cincinnati. We'll also target these areas geographically by using digital outdoor advertising. And we will also use bus and shelter ads, particularly in the downtown area, because that's where we think a very fertile market might be for this information. We'll have our regular traffic sponsorships with Fox 19 News and Hubbard radio stations in the morning. And then we'll just do our regular general marketing and social media that we always do as well. The next slide sort of goes into what the messaging and what this creative will look like. So have you ever seen a 20 or 30-something's laptop or water bottle? And there may be some of those examples in here. Next slide. It's covered in stickers. And so our ad agency said that we're going to take this approach that riding Metro is like a sticker or a Band-Aid for your commute. So here's some of the examples of what the creative will look like. It uses a very fresh and very emoji-based type of marketing message to appeal to this particular audience of 20 and 30-somethings. And you can see that the idea of stickers is going to even be carried through, and we're going to actually offer a merchandise sticker pack that our customers can purchase, or even we'll distribute those free of charge at various community events. But we'll have those available so that people can start to personalize their water bottles and laptops and cell phone cases and various other things with Metro sticker as well. Next, we move on to the operator recruiting campaign. Obviously, our objectives are we want to let people know that Metro's hiring. We want to highlight, as we always have, the perks of being a Metro operator. That includes the pay, the generous benefits, the hiring bonus. But because of the focus groups that we conducted with operators earlier this year and our other research and anecdotal evidence that we have, we want to make sure that we highlight that being a bus operator is not a job. It's a long-term career. And that's really important because the first couple of years of being a bus operator are not the best years in terms of your work-life balance. Because it's a seniority-based work environment, you basically come into the organization as one of the lowest people on the seniority ladder, and therefore you get what's left in terms of work. And we want to make sure that in the hiring process, the onboarding process, and throughout, using our operator success coaches, that operators are constantly being told that there is a light at the end of this tunnel. And when you talk to veteran operators, that light is very bright and very rewarding. We want to provide a clear call to action. So all of our advertising will have a QR code that people can use, which will actually take them to a special landing page on our website that's being developed that focuses just on operator recruiting. Right now, our website has a recruiting page that lists operators, mechanics, and all of the other open positions. And while that's very effective, we want to make sure that we're driving people interested in being a bus operator directly to the bus operator application page. We want to energize our applicants with this fresh approach that you're already seen in our ridership marketing, and we'll be using real operators and real quotes from the various videos that we've done over the years to highlight why being a metro operator is an important career. Our strategies will include digital and outdoor advertising, geo and behavior targeted to people looking for jobs. We'll also do some radio and TV general advertising, bus and shelter ads. We're going to be focusing on advertising on job sites like Indeed and Glassdoor. And we'll do social media and streaming, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, all of the other social media apps that we're all familiar with. We want to maintain a high level of operator applicants to meet our goal of 2,500 plus applicants for this year. That is going to be a 500 applicant increase over our 2025 performance. So here's what some of the creative is going to look like. This first four images you see here are actually what's an animated ad. So when that's presented to somebody on a digital platform, it'll move from screen to screen. And what you see there is sort of our color bar has been energized, and it will be a ribbon that sort of connects through each of the ads and leads people along the journey. You'll see that later on when we show you what a television ad might look like. But you see there that we're focusing on all the benefits of being a bus operator. We're using operators in the actual advertising. Those are all real operators. They've been vetted by our HR department as good representatives of the organization. And they actually will feature quotes that we got from some of the operators as a result of doing the videos that we've done. Next slide. This is an example of what a television spot might look like. And as you see, we have that color bar ribbon moving through the images as well. And each of those, when you get to the shot of Music Hall there, it'll actually basically pop all of the benefits of being a bus operator on as it moves across the screen. And then it concludes with the line forming the outline of the Metro Burst logo and with the call to action, gometro.com/drive. Next slide. Any questions?
Well, that's great. I was encouraging Sarah to share that as well. She said it. I can't wait to see it out there. I've seen a few things recently, maybe not exactly this look. So maybe I am part of that target audience, which would make me very happy if I am. Thank you for everything you're doing. And any other questions? Comments?
I feel like I'm still giggling about the like savings and bus fare is fire, like stickers and things. So yeah, those are good. Good job.
I am gonna have to get some of those stickers, and my kids.
We'll make sure you all get a set when they're available.
They'll be so excited about having a Metro sticker on their water bottle. True story. All right. Yep. All right. Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Aiello, progress and priorities.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple things. I'm going to jump around a little bit. I'm going to start with strategic planning. You all spent a lot of your time and energy over the last few months making sure that we were on the same page about our strategic plan. We have a summary document that's at your desk here that kind of provides that overview of our updated mission, vision, values, and those 4 strategic priorities. You're also starting to see in those action items that we're layering in those strategies and what we do. And some of the things that were brought up during this planning process, you can see we've already activated. I think John and his work in terms of aligning our ridership development functions throughout the organization. You'd mentioned park and rides as being an opportunity. Already activating that with a marketing and signage program. This is an incredible team, as you can see, and they've taken this direction that the board's provided, and they're moving full speed ahead. So just a huge thank you to the team for all that they do to keep us moving and aligned. Going to the report, a couple important things. The Federal Transit Administration continues to work with us on our right-of-way repayment program. If you recall, the FTA asked us to repay them for federal funds that were used to purchase rail right-of-way back in the 1990s, the early 1990s. We started that process with them. We've come up with a long-term repayment plan. We've paid them that first initial payment. And they've also been very cooperative in working with us to really reassess the value of some of those biggest corridors of right-of-way. We've had some questions about whether the values we've received are accurate, and they're working with us to make sure that we get good and true accurate values for that right-of-way, and then finalize that repayment plan over the next couple years. We'll keep you updated on that, but positive movement in that space over the last 30 days. Transit Employee Appreciation Week, I kind of mentioned already the incredible work that happens here at Metro throughout and through all of our divisions. We spend a lot of time also on social media, but also at all divisions, thanking operators and maintenance teams and administrative teams for what they do for keeping Metro moving forward. Part of that is our town hall meetings. We have every 6 months, we go out to all divisions and we share the most important information of what's happening in the organization. And it's also a time to interface and get feedback from frontline employees as well. Great work over the last week to have those town hall meetings. And what we talked about with everybody, again, was our strategic plan update. So the timing was perfect. I think lastly is the bus stop sign unveiling. We're going to have a ribbon cutting here. This is before our committee meeting, so we put it on the agenda here, April 9th at 9:30 a.m. up at the University of Cincinnati. Congressman Greg Landsman will be there to help kick off our new bus stop sign installation project that you all know has been a long time coming, and we're just really, really excited to kick that off. That also will be a ridership development tool that you will see out in 4,000 locations throughout the region, so we're very excited. And Brandy kind of already covered the fact that the Reds, as it sits today in 2026, are in first place, and we hope to see you at the opening day parade. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much for everything you're doing. I see no questions. Is there any new business from the board? No. Is there anything else on the agenda? I don't see anything else on the agenda. So without that, we are adjourned. Thank you. April 9th. Is that what that said?
Keep going to opening day. Do that thing.